Because of this huge demand of India AI, and by December and by January, that this 8192 B200 Blackwells will be up and live. Because so for me, Indian market is supreme. Even with about 700 GPUs which I was owning at that time, I was possibly the largest GPU holder in the country even at that time. And that was like a good and bad news both.
If you were to build Stargate in India, which city will you choose?
Frankly speaking, I think right in 2000s, his message was very clear.
You are data center man of India. If you get any one superpower with this tag, what will you do? So I wanted to ask, does India really need Stargate when we have Yota?
I think.
Welcome to the another episode of Tech Talks. This is your host Siddharth, tech journalist at AI Media House, and today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Sunil Gupta from Yota. So hi sir, how are you doing?
Quite good, Siddharth. Thanks for having me here.
It's good to have you sir here. So I'll start directly. As we know that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is planning to visit India this month, and they might build a data center in India like Stargate. So I wanted to ask, does India really need Stargate when we have Yota?
I think this is required given the scale of digital adoption in India, and I don't need to give out the numbers. The number of mobile phones in India possibly have exceeded the population of India. The number of smartphones are more than 800 million. And each of that person who is carrying that smartphone is creating and consuming content every single minute. Even if we don't know English, we may not be literate, but we are very proficient in using that. And many applications in our life, especially things like UPI, have proved that if we are able to give a great app in the hands of people, which is giving some benefit to the people at a cost which they can afford, it will become big at population scale. AI, at the end of the day, in most of the cases, other than the physical AI, robotics AI, will result into, in most cases, an app into your mobiles, which will either give you knowledge, or it will give you some logic, or it will give you some entertainment, or it will increase your productivity in some way. So if you are able to bring AI use cases to this vast population with 800 million smartphones, there cannot be a bigger market than this. So this market will not require just one player, it will require multiple players. And multiple players at each stack of the AI obviously has a huge stack. You need the physical data centers, you need people who are supplying chips, you need people who are supplying servers, you need people who are providing data sets, you need people who are making models, you need people who are making obviously use cases on the top of that models. And of course you need system integrators who will be working and consultants who will be working with the enterprises to make sense of what they have in terms of data and how to plug that into their the enterprise application. So I think the whole ecosystem will require multiple players at each layer of the stack. So I think ChatGPT coming, for that matter, Perplexity coming in and tying up with Airtel, all these are fantastic developments for AI adoption in India.
So like as Yota is committed to sovereign AI, I wanted to know do you see Stargate as a competition, or you are open to collaborate with OpenAI as well on that front to build data centers, as they're also looking for partners, I think?
Yeah, I think let's just try to decipher sovereign, right? Sovereign for sure never means we as a country start looking inwards and close ourselves to rest of the world. And I think even when government is talking about make in India or sovereignty, I don't think the government also is talking that way. Government actually is talking about openly, please come to India, invest in India and make in India, right? So if ChatGPT is coming in India, they are getting great technology, right, which is benefiting people, but that is actually not what they are signaling. Instead of serving Indian market from sitting in US, they will rather build a data center and the capability in India. It means economic development in India, job creation in India, lesser latency and better user experience to India. So you are actually benefiting India by bringing your technology and investment in India. I would say this is sovereignty, right? Even when I am like putting in chips, right, and putting the AI cloud, GPU cloud, we also have built our own general purpose cloud, which we have deployed in government data centers like NIC and STPI. But that does not mean we are saying, oh, we will not work with Amazon or will not work with Azure. In fact, we are very public that for our NIC cloud, we have actually partnered with Amazon. With Azure, our partnership, I think, is very public. So we are actually using their technologies as a part of our cloud, but ensuring that there is an overall control on the technology by Indians, right? So that at any point of time, no single person or country should be able to dictate what we will do and what we will not do. I think you understood what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think that is sovereignty. Foreign technology coming in and we making the best use of that along with the homegrown technology, I think that is sovereignty. We are able to define our own destiny. That is sovereignty.
Okay. So by sovereignty, it doesn't mean that we cannot allow other global players to come into India.
That will not be even possible. In fact, let me tell you, right now, if I again come back to the AI stack, I think other than the chips, possibly India already is in a state that we can do everything, right? The server manufacturing is happening in India now. There are some players, but I'm sure those players will increase. And after that, the entire layer, India is a master in the entire layer on the top of that, which is essentially data sets and model building and applications. For applications, obviously, India is a leader for last 3 decades. But even when under semiconductor mission, and the government obviously is quite aware about sovereignty and self-dependence in the entire stack, and that is where the semiconductor mission is coming in. That is where the I think countries search for sovereignty on rare earth also is coming in, because that is one of the critical inputs for electronic components manufacturing. But even when we are going to do semiconductor manufacturing, which obviously India has started doing that, number one, it will take us few years still to start getting into those 2 nanometer or 3 nanometer type of chips. It will still take. We are at the moment possibly manufacturing power or memory chips which are 28 nanometers, right? Second is, even when we try to do 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer, you must have seen the CEO of ASML was there in semiconductor mission, right? So when country aspires to make the 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer chips, even then you'll be requiring those specific lithographic machines, which only ASML manufactures across the entire world. So even then you'll be dependent on Netherlands to bring that, because that's the only company in the world. If you are manufacturing chips, you still need chemicals. You need many other equipment. So sovereignty for sure means, number one, we are trying to make in India as much as possible so that we can fulfill our need. But we also have productive relationship with multiple friendly countries across the world, and so that no single country again is able to dictate us. And we are able to bring their technologies into India, so that besides we adopting the technology, which India is like adopting technology, is also able to incorporate that technology and start manufacturing that technology going forward. I think that is maybe a broader definition of sovereignty. And I think that is what government is pursuing, and that's how we are trying to see it.
So like, what was the key highlight from the recently concluded SAMICON? And like previously also our union minister has announced multiple times, like India wants to make its own GPU within the next maybe I think 5 to 6 years. So I wanted to ask you, as you work very closely with data centers and GPUs, like according to you, what's the timeline by when India can build its own GPU?
See, frankly speaking, this is not something which is a direct my domain, but I can just go by the intent and I would say the need, why government is doing it. And that's what again I said, that at the end of the day, when you're talking about self-sufficiency, being able to determine your own destiny, or you call it sovereignty, you should be able to work on every element of the entire stack. You are great at software development, but that is of no use if you're dependent on somebody else for models, right? You're great at building models, but that's of no use if you don't have data sets. And same way, you can maybe assemble servers, you can maybe fabricate motherboards, but no use if you're not able to have your own chips, then you're again dependent on somebody else. So we, besides having productive relationship with all other OEMs and other countries, and of course have their technologies as well, we also need to have our own capabilities as well. And I think that is where the whole intent is on semiconductor mission, right? Now, I think India has made a great start and nobody could have believed from a status of nowhere to within 2 years, India has started producing, at least on a pilot basis. That's what was announced in the Semicon, this event, that the pilot chips are already out, and within this financial year, as Prime Minister announced, the first set of GPUs in production, commercial production, will start coming out. It's a great achievement, I would say, as a country, on all this level. I mean, same thing I will obviously talk about India AI mission also. Despite hiccups, right, carrying the whole industry along, government, industry, academia, researchers working together, and still being able to bring from a status of no AI, no GPU in India to a status where we are today. I think it's a great achievement, and obviously we have to march forward more and more and more. So I would say now going towards GPU, I think it is a little longer jump.
Okay.
It might take time, right? How fast we are able to respond to that, it will depend on, I presume, on some geopolitical relationships also, and also our initial success in the steps which we had taken so far. But I think if I remember, Minister said that within 5 years we'll have our GPUs. So I'll just like to go by, what the Minister says. But I think the aspirations and the need is surely there.
So can you tell us about your journey from like 2019 to 2025? So you started building data centers when data centers were there, GPUs were a thing, but AI wasn't a thing. So did you imagine like AI will explode so much at that point of time?
Frankly speaking, no. Right? I would say the vision which I carried when I started Yotta was that from late 90s to about 2015-16, Indian data center industry was more enterprise driven and not really a .com driven or a internet driven the industry. Unlike US, where data center industry came because of the .com boom, right, which obviously became bust. In India, because of the World Trade Center event in US, enterprises suddenly realized that they are not safe within their own captive data center. They rather would go to specialized data centers. And of course, technology adoption and the complication of technology, lots of power, cooling, and all those events led to more of enterprises outsourcing their critical applications to data centers. But because the scale of those applications possibly is not as large as what can be a social media application, the data center industry went on the base was small, so even a 25% year-on-year growth was making the Indian data center base as somewhere around 200 megawatt, only that much till 2015. But because of multiple tailwinds in India, whether it is 2G shifting to 3G, shifting to 4G, and of course now we have 5G, and fiberization across the country thanks to private players, Jios, Airtels coming in and putting fiber, taking it up to the village level, BharatNet contributing and all, smartphones becoming in the range of like $50, $60, you can get a smartphone and people can start using it, UPI coming in, e-commerce wave coming in way back in 9-10, Flipkart coming in, Snapdeal coming in, all that thing. I think all these things added up to create an environment, and then RBI putting a mandate to banks that you will have to adopt core banking, you also will have to have a disaster recovery. I think all these things added up and cloud had come in 2009-10. India just lapped up. Again, give a good technology to Indians, they will adopt it, right? So I think the hyperscalers realized at that time, and I was a part of the whole action at that time, so I know that in around 14-15, they realized that if they have to serve this large country called India, they cannot do so sitting in Europe or Singapore or Australia. They will have to put up their grids or clusters in India itself. And once they decided, of course, they always come with scale. And that is where I saw between 2015 to 17-18, one after the other, all the hyperscalers came and they built up their infrastructure in India. I think all of them started with Mumbai. Obviously, Microsoft took a little different route to Pune and Chennai and Hyderabad later. But everybody came, and the scale suddenly, which used to be like 10 racks, 15 racks per customer, scale shifted to 1,000 rack, 2,000 rack. We started talking the language of megawatts and not racks. And the industry grew from 200 megawatt to almost 1.4 gigawatt, which is today. And if we go by all the trends, both the demand side trends, which is very, very visible, AI is coming on the top of all that, and also the supply trend, where from a stage of 5 providers which we used to have. Today you can count almost 25 providers who are so-called data center operators in India. People having bought lands, people having done power fiber feasibilities, people having started construction, people having announced. If you count both the demand dynamics and supply dynamics, it is very visible that by 2030, India will have at least 3 gigawatt of dental capacity.
Okay.
Now, how much AI will bring on the top of that, nobody is clear, right?
Okay.
If we just go by the global trends and some of the announcements, even by, I remember Microsoft head of infrastructure had announced that whatever capacity the world has created till date before AI will add that much of capacity extra. So if essentially the market will become double simply because of AI. So the numbers in India also, which are being quoted, and I can sort of align with that, and I'm very sort of sure that will happen, that this number will no more remain 3 gigawatt, it may become 6 gigawatt. So when I started IOTA, the thought at that time was two. If India has to scale up big time into digital adoption, the physical infrastructure will have to catch pace. Infrastructure players who understand land, who understand building, who understand power, who understand approval will have to come in and shake hands with the people who understand technology. And frankly speaking, that is where many times I'm asked this question, why Hiranandani is as your promoter, why some private equity was not there. It is because they not only brought money, but more importantly, they brought in the underlying infrastructure element while I brought the technology element into the equation. And so the thought was that I will create campuses, not standalone buildings, so that I'm able to give scalability to whosoever enterprise or hyperscale cloud operator or government, whosoever comes, lifetime they are able to scale into that. So bought large parcels of land, put in lots of power infrastructure, put in a lot of fiber infrastructure, and that's what I am on. What I also had in mind right on day one was that only physical infrastructure is not enough. That is good for hyperscalers and some maybe large banks who still want to run their own IT. But for majority of the enterprises, startups and end customers, they have moved on from just co-location. They just want to outsource clouds.
Okay.
And because I spent like 25 years doing that only, doing like hybrid type of services. So the thought was that right on day one, we will be doing cloud and full managed services to serve the larger market. That also is like de-risking your business because you are not only then dependent on 3 hyperscalers to give business to you, right? Now, if you are doing cloud, suddenly then your competition is no more DC operator. Your competition directly is with Amazon's, Azure's and Google's of the world because they are the kings of cloud, right? So the niche which I realized and which was the need of the hour and which has become my mainstay of my business now was sovereign clouds. That time possibly these type of geopolitical signals which are present today were not visible. But I think the clear thought was that if we are able to deliver a open source based, homegrown, Indian owned and controlled cloud, we will have a market which actually appreciates this, whether it is government, whether it is critical, areas where you cannot possibly have a foreign on technologies. And gradually, but the key point is, you cannot just say I'm son of the soil, I am sovereign, but I don't give a quality. I will have to match the quality of a Amazon, Azure, Google, but if I am able to match that quality with a clear picture that this is designed, engineered, operated and controlled by Indians, so your data is safe, possibly I will be able to, give the right value to the people.
So can you say that today, like you match the quality of Amazon and Google?
So I think this is going to be a very relative statement. I mean, there's no way if somebody has spent billions of dollars for 25 years with thousands of people and you suddenly say that you have become that. There's no point in being in that delusion. All I can say is that if Amazon possibly have today 300 services, I might have started with 70 services. That 70 services itself from the scale of any local operator anywhere in the world, if you leave aside hyperscaler, is a big take. We have done that. And we have done that with great quality in terms of the underlying infrastructure resiliency as well as from the user experience point of view. So I presume we have done a good job.
Yeah.
But there is a way to go before you there. But that may not be the target also, if you ask me. If I'm able to meet the 90% of the needs of my target customers with my services which are great quality, and for certain services where I'm still some time away, I'm able to have productive relationship, and that's why I said with a Amazon and Azure, they are not my competitor. I'm working in my niche, and for that niche my services are aligned. But for certain advanced services, I'm also able to have productively use of Amazon and Azure services. That is best of both worlds, and that is how I am actually putting it. So I can have my own niche, and so it is not a competition. In fact, I am working with Amazon and Azure in a very collaborative way, and they are taking me as a partner and not as a competitor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so cut to 2022 November, ChatGPT is launched, and like it becomes a viral thing. And today, like India is the second largest market of ChatGPT. And then you like NVIDIA partnership happens with Yota. So can you take us through the journey, like how you met Jensen and like how NVIDIA came into the picture?
So I tell you, see, because I was doing cloud and managed services right from day one, as I said, and the thought process, frankly speaking, at that time was that I'm a latecomer into the data center industry. I mean, I may be as a person, I was into data center for long, but as Yota, I was new. So what is the different I do?
Yeah.
So one difference was, okay, I'm backed by a real estate operator, so I'll create campuses.
Yeah.
I will have power substations, I'll have fiber. So that was one part, scale, quality. I went for uptime tier 4. Nobody had gone for that, all that stuff. Second was managed services in cloud, which is sovereign, right? Open source based. What do I do more? So I actually started GPUs right in 2020.
Okay.
But that time, the use case of GPUs was not AI. The use case of GPUs at that time was online gaming, content creation, VFX effects, animation, cartoons. That was the typical usage which industry was using the GPUs for. And I started giving GPUs also as a part of my cloud. So in 2022, or 2023, when I was approached, and this is something which was surprise to me, and NVIDIA India only told me that even with about 700 GPUs which I was owning at that time, I was possibly the largest GPU holder in the country even now, even at that time. And that was like a good and bad news both. Good that, okay, I am the largest GPU holder in the country, and bad that a country of the scale of India, somebody with 700 GPUs is the largest owner. So actually that actually showed the gap India has in terms of infrastructure. Somewhere in August, I remember the dates also now, August 23, Jensen came to India. And he had met Prime Minister, and he spent 1 week in India. And I think the discussion with Prime Minister, as told by NVIDIA India MD only, is that Prime Minister told NVIDIA that, how can AI be used for the use cases of India? And second, if India is a software and services leader for last 3 decades, why India cannot be a leader in AI also, which also at the end of the day is engineering, science and maths only, which India is great at. And Jensen said that I am a chip maker. I have a affinity for India. I'm coming to India for last 5-6 years. Every time I try that somebody comes, purchases my chips, creates a cloud out of that, and I'll provide all support. But people make promises, but nobody comes forward ultimately. So if anybody from India comes forward, I will be giving my commitment to India that I will give my highest priority allocation of chips. I will give my engineering and all type of support to make you successful. I know at that time 3 names popped up. 2 names were very, very like open. Everybody, the moment you talk infrastructure, Jio and Tata. And the third name which was suggested by NVIDIA India to Jensen was Yota. Right? And the reason was, these guys own data centers, which is the underlying ingredient for running a GPU cloud. And of course, they have lots of power and all. These guys are running cloud and managed services, which is again required if you are going to run a GPU cloud. And third and most important, these guys already are a big GPU owner. So I was called overnight to Pune. Jensen was in Pune, in their Pune campus. And next day evening, I had a meeting with Jensen. And Jensen said, fantastic, congratulations. Take your bet, take your risk. It is a great opportunity. and I'll be with you. That was his message at the end of the day. And we actually sort of, I sometimes feel that, you have to take calculated risks based on the demand which is not visible today.
Okay.
Right? So many times we take our investment decisions based on the demand and so-called funnel which is visible right now. But there's a much larger demand and much larger funnel which possibly the targeted customers themselves don't know, because that is the latent demand.
Okay.
So if you are able to see that, and if you are able to see the overall ecosystem, which I keep on talking about, 800 million smartphones and digital adoption and all, this is the recipe for AI adoption. We actually just jumped in.
Okay.
That this is a golden chance for us to build an infrastructure which India will need in coming times. We had seen ChatGPT adoption already. It was like AI was already there. It was just coming into consumer hands and public discourse that time. Within 3 months, we actually worked very, very closely. I mean, I remember Friday that week, Jensen left, and Saturday morning, I was playing badminton, in the morning. And from there, from my mobile, I messaged Vishal Dupar.
Yeah.
I want to place an order for 16,000 GPUs. Let me know how do we proceed.
Okay.
And right on the Saturday, 3 o'clock, we had a meeting with NVIDIA. And after that, I think between the two teams, true to their promise, they engaged with us for 2 months like anything, designing, engineering, deployment strategies, go-to-market strategies, support, everything. In fact, allocation at that time, H100s were like a rare commodity. 9 months was the waiting period.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, you place an order, we will ensure that at least 4,000 chips are available to you on topmost priority. And I knew it was coming directly from Jensen's desk.
Yeah.
I actually visited their head office there, again, just to make sure that that is there. And by March 24, we had the chips. By March 24, we had the chips. And I would say sometimes a capability which you build for something else, it comes very handy for something else. The same data center which I had built for hyperscalers, right? And because I was doing data center at larger scale, I have my in-house team to design and engineer data centers. I don't depend on third parties. So while chips took 4 months to come, during those 4 months, my team actually repurposed and re-engineered the whole one single floor of my data center. So when the chips came, the data center was ready with liquid cooled environment.
Okay.
By June 24, we were ready and live.
So like right now, how many GPUs Yotta have, and my viewers would love to know like by when we can expect Blackwell GPUs as well.
Yeah. So right now we have 8,000 H100s live with us. We have 1,000 L40s live with us. And of course, now that India AI mission has taken off, and the whole market, I would say, because of this supply being available, lots of startups, lot of IITs and research institutions are building models. I feel proud and humbled. I think majority of the large scale AI model development in India has happened on our GPUs. You take any name, and they are still working. I mean, they trained, and now obviously they're putting the model for inferencing on our GPUs. So these 8,000 GPUs, between a combination of these LLMs like Servums, and now Socket has been allocated. So they are going towards that. I have some global customers who are using my GPUs, and of course, all the AI big names in India, they are using, the GPU. So this 8,000 is almost fully in use right now. We also, by the way, have created a huge PaaS layer on the top of our AI, so that when you go deeper and deeper into the market in startups and enterprises, they may not want to touch GPU, but they will just like to have an API and want to use a model, and they would want to have an environment of quickly using a model, fine-tuning it with their data, and then putting it on an app. So we have created that whole PaaS layer on the top of that. So obviously, I'm making sure that I have GPUs available for delivering that service as well. Because of this huge demand of India AI and what we can see now, I mean, the dreams which we thought of 2 years back are coming true now. We ordered, we took the same risk which we took like 5 years back in starting Yotta, then 2 years back in starting H100s. The same risk we have taken, and we have ordered for 8,000 Blackwells, B200s. We ordered them about 2 months back, and we are expecting, and that is our commitment to India AI, that by December and by January, I mean, that is the time frame we have given, that this 8192 B200 Blackwells will be up and live, because I presume that India AI is flushed with demand for making more LLMs. These are not only horizontal LLM, but they are also vertical specific LLMs. And I think that is what country needs.
Yeah.
So feel very happy that in a way, while this is business for us, but in a way, we are contributing to building this, I would say AI revolution in India. So wait for December and January, you will see Blackwell also in India on a very large scale.
So can you give us breakdown like how many GPUs Sarvam has got from Yotta, like Socket has gone from Yotta, like
So this is a public information, so obviously I can share. So Sarvam was allocated 4096 H100s, which we have given to Sarvam, and they are training their LLM. Initially, we had given about 1600, and then later on when I got more GPUs deployed, I gave them the balance one. So they are using 4096 GPUs. In fact, they're using petabytes of that high-speed parallel file storage as well. They're using petabytes of object storage, and there is a whole NVIDIA Lepton software layer which we have put in for them. So that's what Sarvam is using. Socket allocation has happened just few days back. They have been allocated 1536 H100s, and that is something again. So right now is just the discussions. They just want to build their data sets, and they are doing some initial planning. So in the next few days, they will also start using this 1536 GPUs. We have just kept them reserved for them, so they are using it. And of course, as I said that my balanced GPUs are being used for many of my other commercial Indian and international customers. The sooner I get the Blackwells, India has got a lineup of the new LLMs which I think they have approved. Some of them very, very critical. My Blackwells will be put to use for them.
So like what advantage Blackwell offers, or like is it wrong to say we are too dependent on NVIDIA and we need to diversify our GPU sources as well? So like, do you agree on that? We need to diversify beyond NVIDIA?
I think that will apply to any market, that in general, and that is something which applies, as we say, to the country as a whole when we are talking about sovereignty, right? That does not mean that you start building everything yourself. You can't do that. Nobody in the world can do that. But you should not have a singular dependency on any one person or one company or one country. So yes, as of now, that is the stage the world is in, that NVIDIA is the leader. They have done good for themselves, right? And everybody, especially when you want to train large language foundational models, NVIDIA GPUs are the way to go, right? And that's where our very strong partnership with NVIDIA. But yes, that as the bigger market of AI would be inferencing. Models is a means to achieve the end purpose. The end purpose is the AI models result into some great use cases on the top, and the people use those models for inferencing. Inferencing will be much larger market, because then you are serving the whole population with your AI use cases. When you are doing that and you are putting AI, so trainings again, I mean, if I add further, when you are doing training, you are not making commercial revenues out of what you are building. You are investing at that time. So your investment will be coming either from a government fund like India AI Mission, or some private equity is funding you, right? But once you have trained the model, then you are in the open market and you have to earn for yourself, which is inferencing. When you want to earn for yourself and you want to target India as a market, India market has time and again proved you don't make money by pricing yourself high for your product. You make money by pricing it very optimally, but taking it to millions and millions of people, right? Geo is always an example which everybody quotes on that, right? Same thing is going to happen for AI. So if we have to take multiples of AI use cases and make them successful in India, let's say 10 crore people plus are using, let's say, some AI application, we'll have to bring the cost down of the the token generation in AI. And the fundamental cost in AI, besides obviously you have a data center cost, you have a power cost and some skill set and people cost, the real cost is still GPUs. So one angle would be NVIDIA itself, which they are doing. They are making more powerful GPUs, like Blackwell is much more powerful than H100. So your net cost for per token or per inferencing is significantly lower in Blackwell, right? Although Blackwell as such is costly, but your net cost per token reduces because the performance is higher. But you will also have to bring in the mix other providers, be it a AMD or a Intel or a Cerebras or a Samba Nova or a Grok. I think multiple people will have to come in. And in fact, I think that is where the aspiration of India also to build its own GPUs coming in. That for a country of this size, for a demand of this size, you will have to have multiple people with the end purpose of bringing the prices down while keeping the performance level same or higher. So that is something which has to happen. Right now, yes, absolutely, for the right purposes, because we're into training phase and we have to work with the leader. We are working with NVIDIA and we'll continue to do that. They will remain leader for sure. They have built a great technology. But we will, and we are trying out, we will build in the other elements of the other, the chip manufacturers also, with the sole purpose of bringing the overall cost down so that we can serve the larger population.
So like we discussed Samanova, Grok, Cybers. So I think we missed out on one player like Google. So Google is also known for its TPUs and they are getting really popular. So like Google's video model VO3 also run on its own TPUs. And like there has been discussions lately, like many customers want Google to start their own business of selling TPUs. Like right now they only give in Google Cloud. So I wanted to know like what are your thoughts on that? And why do you love Google?
If Google, so you're right. Frankly speaking, it was news to me that Google also would like to give its TPUs commercially to other also to build their GPU clouds. I'll be more than happy. They are my, I mean, as again I said that I call this as sovereignty. Right, that I not only build my own capability, I also have productive relations with multiple people and with no single dependence on anybody. So if somebody like Google, I'm sure they will always create a good product. If somebody like Google also is willing to give a technology which is already tested, for their own models, why would I not use it if it's available? Of course.
So you would love to have Google TPU?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. So like I wanted to know one advice from Jensen you still carry with you, or you remember any interesting conversation with him?
I think the key advice was take risk, right? If you are sure of the opportunity, you will have to take risk, because everything cannot be visible. If everything is visible, then you are not an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
You have to study the environment, you have to study the opportunity, you have to study the risk, and then if you are convinced that this will give results, go for it.
Okay.
Because that is something that was his learning, that he has done that all his life. He was trying to build market in India for 5-6 years. That's what he told me. But people were not going forward. And if I now, try to look back, that is what is paying me back. Right? Before Jensen, obviously, Yotta starting itself was a huge risk. For 25 years, I was like a professional, and then suddenly thought that, okay, there cannot be a better opportunity in India to build a data center at scale. There cannot be a better opportunity to build sovereign cloud, because nobody else is trying to do that. And there is a niche market for that. At that time, the geopolitics was not visible, but today, with whatever Mr. Trump is doing, I think there's a much larger need of having control on your own technology, because that has become a tool of your war as well. So that is what is very, very visible. And the same sort of a risk was there when we decided to go for GPUs, right? If I tell you that at that time my thought was, when I went for GPUs, that okay, the Indian market is not there. It will take some time before the Indian market wakes up to this thought that, oh, GPUs are available in abundance, there is no shortage, let's start building. But what will I do? I have invested millions of dollars. So the thought was that, okay, globally the GPUs are in shortage. And for training, people can train their models anywhere in the world. They will not go for localization, wherever they are getting GPUs at the most optimum cost. So even if Indian demand will take some time to grow, I can have demand coming from Eastern Europe or Middle East or APAC or even from US, because I have GPUs. It actually worked that way for initial few months. And then suddenly what happened, that maybe GPUs came in abundance. In US, multiple providers popped up, Hydras and all of the world. And possibly in some other parts of the world, GPUs start coming in. And suddenly I was left, you can say, high and dry, where the global demand started getting served within their region. And Indian market was still taking time to grow. And that was a very difficult, I would say, 6 to 8 months for me, where having invested so much, having my banks chasing me and having my vendors chasing me, I was not having enough demand and cash generation from these GPUs. So that was the risk element you take. But a combination of largely the India AI mission, which has sort of converged the whole of India's requirement into a singular door, which is India AI mission, and then they're converging the demand into you, right, has brought the things back.
Yeah.
And now, as I told you right now, I have a different problem that given a chance, I would like to mobilize 50,000 and 100,000 GPUs because that is what the market is. It is visible to me, right?
Yeah.
So it is now a more of an execution problem for me and of course investment problem for me that how much I do that because the opportunity already has become big.
Yeah.
So point is, yes, take risk. We took the risk.
Yeah.
It actually was looked like a risk for me for some time, but yes, now it is paying dividends.
Yeah. So following up on that, like has Indian market finally woken up? And so like when we have enough GPUs, why aren't we seeing a foundation model from India which is on the global level? So where's the bottleneck? Is it on the compute side or maybe like the search side?
I think it is a combination of, so again, let me give you a rounded view, right?
Yeah.
The positive view is from a status of nowhere, we have reached a stage where there is a reasonable number of GPUs available. I will not say GPUs in large numbers, reasonable number of GPUs are available. And because of that, research institutions, IITs and all, and lots of great startups have started building models, right? That is the positive side of this. And the positive side again is that I think the way India mission has been carried out, I think it is becoming an example for many countries who want to learn how Government of India has done India mission, which is essentially government acting as a facilitator, as an encourager. And more importantly, I would see that they are actually acting as a platform where government, suppliers, people like us, end users like startups and enterprises and academia, everybody is sitting on the table and literally driving it together. I mean, I think it's a great achievement. No country has done that, right?
Like where's the bottleneck? I want to know.
Yes. So no, I'm coming to that. So this is the positive part. The flip side of this is I still don't see too much of adoption happening, right? Ultimately, any product will be successful when it starts getting commercially adopted in abundance. Whether it is B2C adoption, right, of Indian generated product. I'm not talking about ChatGPT and Perplexity, right? Or a B2B adoption that mass scale people start putting AI into their workflows, enterprise workflows. Lots of POCs are happening. Lots of testing is happening. When we say in India 70%, 80% people are using, essentially those are POCs, right? How many enterprises start believing same risk moment?
Yeah.
Do you want to be doubly sure that this investment in AI which I'm putting in will be actually reducing my cost or increasing my productivity? Only then I will invest? Or will you take a leap of faith and actually go for it?
Okay.
That is the moment I think most of the enterprises are facing. So unless and until there's a mass scale B2B adoption, at least few applications come which is a mass scale G2C adoption, right, and G2D adoption, obviously, the market will have problems. And the problem, as I said, is right now there's a government funding and maybe some startups also are funded by PEs. So you are able to make models. But the moment the models are made, at some point in time, the government fund will dry, the PE fund will dry, and these model builders will have to earn the money. And the earning will happen only when the end user adoption happens. So I think we are waiting for that UPI moment. I keep on saying that adoption happens on a larger scale, which we are yet to see. I think that is the problem. Yes, as of now, GPUs, even though, like, as I said, we are bringing now 16,000 GPUs and I'll keep on building more and more. As of now, maybe because we are possibly the only one who are putting GPUs on a very large cluster with this NVIDIA reference architecture, InfiniBand, single fabric and all. Many more suppliers will have to build this high quality GPU clusters so that this LLM building exercise which India is trying to do is actually, instead of happening sequentially over 2-3 years, happens actually parallelly. And then quickly we move on to the use cases and inferencing stage. So there is definitely some supply bottlenecks despite GPUs being available. And of course, the larger problem of the demand adoption happening, that I think is the real bottleneck as of now.
Okay. So like you are called like data center man of India. So with that title, do you feel responsible that you need to like lead the revolution in India for data centers, like similar as Target in US where they're investing 500 billion. So do you like with that tag, is there any responsibility you feel? And like many people don't see like building data center is not an easy task. Like it requires land, resources, cooling, networking, wiring,
Yeah.
then hardware, racks.
Yeah.
So like, can you explain like how difficult is it to build a data center in India? And what are the challenges, and like how responsible you feel with that tag?
See, I tell you, frankly speaking, I mean, so that we don't overstate a problem.
Yeah.
Building data center, now India has built and multiple providers have built best quality data centers which compete, eye to eye with any great quality data center in the developed world. So of course it has got challenges, and then we talk about land acquisitions and 30 plus approvals and getting power connection, getting fiber, and of course designing, engineering data center, then operating data centers. I would say that might be applicable to any other industry. You create a large factory, there will be challenges, right? But the key part is that India as a country and we as a supplier ecosystem, we have done it, and we have done it repeatedly in the last 10 years. So whether it is Yotta or whether it is many other players, we all are doing it, surmounting all the problems which are there on the ground. But the fact that industry has become 7 times and will become another 3 times more, it means the problems are there, but we are able to overcome them. We are still growing the system. So I'm very, very sure, right? I'm just carrying a tag, but the industry is much larger than what I am doing. And I think we all are doing a fabulous job. I don't see any problem there. Of course, the second layer of data center, which is where you start getting into the cloud layer, right? Where you start getting the GPU layer, where you start getting the AI layer. That is where I always sort of rue quite a lot that many more people should have taken, risks and initiatives instead of just giving it away to hyperscalers, right? I always feel that India lost its cloud moment, and that's why I say India should not end up losing its AI moment, right? 2009-10, when cloud came in the world, we all DC operator in India had a chance to build great quality cloud, and we had a long lead before hyperscalers came in 15-16. We could have created a great cloud which would have catered to Indian market. We could have given some modicum of competition to hyperscalers, but because we did not do, when hyperscalers came, we all had to shut shop. Everybody became a resellers of cloud operators. That's what I'm trying to regain now with my sovereign cloud. In AI, right now, hyperscalers possibly have a focus on developed markets like US. They have not put their focus in India. If not today, tomorrow they will put their focus in India. Nobody can ignore Indian market. This is the lead time we as a DC operator have again. The same cloud movement has come in AI. If I am able to put not only the GPU infrastructure, top quality GPU infrastructure, top quality data infrastructure, and I create a big orchestration layer, PaaS layer on the top of that. So when hyperscalers scale, they bring their attention to India, we will be able to give a great competition to them. Again, we will work collaboratively with them, but we will also be able to serve a big part of market ourselves. That is where the sovereignty will lie. That is where value retention in India will lie. That is what we need to aspire for. And I think that's what I'm gunning for.
So I read somewhere like in India we have dearth of talent, talent who knows how to connect GPUs. Like networking is also very important. Like people only talk about GPUs, but it's much bigger than that. People overlook many other aspects of it. So can you tell us like what, like besides acquiring GPU, what other challenges are there in networking?
You are right. I'm happy that you're talking this question, because many of these things do not come visibly, right? Visibly, AI means models and apps, and nobody actually understands the complexity beyond a point of the underlying thing. Actually, unlike a regular cloud deployment or private cloud or any enterprise hosting deployment, which we all are doing for ages in data centers or in our captive on-premises data centers, in case of AI, you actually are having GPU boxes, but then every GPU talking to every other GPU. So you're talking about creating a singular fabric, right? Using InfiniBand. Of course, you can do it through high-speed Ethernet also, but using InfiniBand, for example. Now that brings its own complications in terms of technology, in terms of its execution on ground. And also because the GPUs are hugely power hungry, right? If you try to deploy them in the same existing data centers which are used to having 6 kilowatt power per rack, and suddenly you are needing to have 50 kilowatt, 100 kilowatt, 150 kilowatt in the same rack, it also means a huge re-engineering into the data center in terms of the power distribution as well as the cooling distribution. So it is power distribution, cooling distribution, fiber and cabling distribution.
Yeah.
Everything comes to the fore, and that obviously things make complicated. In terms of the data center re-engineering, power, cooling, distribution, again, as I said, the capability which I built in-house, that came in very handy. I was able to do that. And of course, the whole industry who want to build AI-ready data center will have to build it either in-house or they'll have to work along with some consultants or third parties to do that. But when it comes to networking, our team, the obviously which does networking and the systems and all, they have learned and upgraded themselves along with NVIDIA.
Okay.
We have utilized NVIDIA's engineering team to design and engineer our clusters. We have used their professional services team even to deploy and commission this cluster to test. We do our benchmarking with the world best benchmark. And for that, if you're doing that, you obviously have to use the people who know it, right? And because now we had done it like almost 2 rounds already, we put first 4,000 chips, we went through the exercise, then we put the next 4,000, we went through the exercise, now I'm going to put Blackwells, we'll again go through the same exercise. So it is like, keep on using the professionals who know it best, because you have to do it at word quality, but your teams become an integral part of that whole chain when that deployments are happening, and obviously my team is operating them on a 24/7 basis. So we are learning along the way. We are doing lateral hiring, we are training our people, we are also using NVIDIA and other people, and along the way we'll have to learn. But yes, that is where there is a dearth of talent as of now, and we will have to, besides putting talent on model buildings and softwares and Pythons and MLs, we will have to have talent at this layer as well, because this is a layer which India has to grow significantly in coming times.
Yeah. So there's one interesting question I wanted to ask. So in the latest earnings call, NVIDIA revealed that like 39% of their quarterly revenue came from just 2 customers. So I wanted to know, can you take any guesses there, like who they can be?
Microsoft, which include OpenAI and Meta.
Okay.
I presume these will be the 2.
Okay.
Again, these are my guesses. If they have not revealed it, I mean, I'm nobody to do that. But if I just go by the scale of activity, see, in any case, I think whether it is OpenAI, which and Microsoft combination, thanks to their ChatGPT success, whether it is Meta, which is very, very open, vocal about building AGI. And trying to poach all the best talent from all their other peers, and I think we all know what Zuckerberg is trying to do. Frankly speaking, Tesla, right? All the announcements of Elon Musk in terms of, again, everybody is trying to gun in Silicon Valley for AGI. They already have gone, put their eyes beyond AI to AGI. So he having put that 100,000 plus GPUs, famously in 20 days and all. So whether it is Anthropic, right? Whether it is DeepMind has become part of Google now. So I think all these guys, are investing, and actually real investments is coming from these guys. Everybody else is like trying to catch and putting their own niche, but the real investment is happening from these 4 or 5 people who are building large clusters, large horizontal AI models on the way to achieve AGI. I think the real, it will be among these 4 or 5, but my guess, based on the level of activity, possibly it is Microsoft OpenAI combination and
so like how long can NVIDIA sustain this momentum? Like how big is it going to grow? Like any bold prediction you have for NVIDIA? But like small language models will come into the picture, like we'll move on to edge, and like data centers will be useless at some point of time.
See, if I say this way, again, there will always be doomsday talks all the time happening, and just like for any other technology, there will always be doomsday articles coming up that is AI a bubble. I just read the article just 2 days back, is AI a bubble and whether it's going to bust and all this thing. Fundamentally, I don't think so, right? It's like if somebody, when internet came in 90s, and somebody must have said internet is a bubble, right? And what is coming on the paper, we can see it in our books, for example, right? Or for that matter, when mobile phones came, somebody said it's just a bubble, right? So I don't think with the type of deployment and the benefit people have seen, and AI is not just generative AI, which people sometimes relate to, right? AI is already doing a huge productivity gains in B2B application, which is the fundamental core AI and not generative AI. So I don't think it's a bubble anymore. Now the only shape of AI, the dynamics of AI may change. As you said, that there will be overall prevalence of some large language models, and people will zero in on those 3 or 4 models which are meant for some purposes and which can do every type of activity in a generic way. They will give a lot of benefits, but you will end up having industry specific or vertical specific or even company specific or task specific models coming in. You will have agents coming in, right, which are either running on the single agent, or you will have an agentic AI coming in, which is sort of using multiple agents and model and trying to achieve an end-to-end workflow in an enterprise. These workflows plugging into the enterprise application like a SAP or Oracle. So many of the use cases like which are happening now in a case of a driverless car, AI does not operate in a data center. It is plugged into the car itself. So maybe going forward, which everybody is waiting, that localized use cases of AI where you are doing pest control or watering of the plants, and there's a drone which is through a camera monitoring the status, then giving some real-time feedback to a local data center in the same city. Some processing happens, some real-time feedback is going, and then the water comes out or pest control comes out. So I think those things we are all talking about, when those commercializations happen at a larger scale, hopefully, maybe AI processing also start moving on the edges also. We are all waiting for those things. So the dynamics of, whether large or big, centralized versus decentralized, all these dynamics will keep on changing. But whether we are doubting whether AI will be there or not, I don't think that is the case. So AI will keep on scaling up, right? Trainings will happen. Fine tunings will happen. Inferencing will obviously become the mainstay, and I think it's going to continue.
Coming back to India, I know you have worked closely with Mukesh Ambani in your early 2000 days, where you built data centers for them. So recently they also announced a data center in Jamnagar, 3 gigawatt data centers. They were working with Google and
Facebook, Meta.
So wanted to know why Yotta is in the part of this picture, as you have all relations with Reliance.
No, I think the journey with Jio or Mr. Ambani is taking is different than the journey which we are taking, right? And again, I'm saying having, I always say I'm fortunate to having worked with him. More than having worked with him, having observed him from closer quarters, you learn from such people. I think right in 2000s, his message was very clear, and which I think remains part of all his decisions. That's my observation. He never guns for intermediate activities. Let me explain. In 2000, he was gunning for putting a mobile in the hand of everybody, so that people can talk. And more than voice, since starting, he was focused on data. Bringing apps in the hands of users. That was the end result, right? In the food chain, you were gunning for the highest thing, right? To achieve that purpose, you have to put networks, lease lines, fiber, towers, and all that thing. You have to build data centers, because those data centers will be required to process those CDRs and run your billing applications and CRM applications and all that thing. Now, you want to target that mobile applications and the applications on the top of that as a market, or you want to give your fiber lease lines to enterprises or data center co-location as your product. He will gun for the end product. If you see in Jio, and that is very visible, very, very visible, and I think he was vocal about it. Even in Jio, if he had done data centers in Reliance Infocom, previous avatar, right? Nothing stopped him to do data centers as a business in Jio also. He never did it. Nothing stopped him to do enterprise play, giving lease lines, MPLS in a big way. He never did that. He has enterprise play, but not in a large scale, right? The real scale is, I will bring mobile, voice becomes free. I will make money using apps. That is where Jio TV, Jio Cinema, Jio Money, their tie-up with the Hotstar, all these things coming, because you are trying to earn from the highest mile, and that is where you're targeting the population scale of the country. That is what his thought is always. So same thing here. when he is building data center in Jamnagar, he is not building a data center for the purpose of giving data center space to enterprises.
Okay, yeah.
Or for that matter, I don't think he will ever be talking about giving GPU as a service to enterprises.
Yeah.
That will not be. That is a means to achieve the end. I mean,
Yeah.
his thought process used to be, why I enable those other people to deliver the services to end customer. I will go to the end customer and deliver.
Yeah.
So my purpose is B2B. I enable enterprises who in turn are enabling the end consumers with their products. So the journeys are different.
Okay. So like no plans of collaboration as of now.
No. I mean, frankly speaking, again, there's a lots of people, right, on that side who are friends because we have worked together and all the thing. We talk, we collaborate. So while they are going to build their own capability, which they always do, they are famous for forward and backward integration. Then they will like to build all capabilities. In many ways, so many times I say my DNA actually has come from there because I also talk about complete in-house capability, right? When I build data center, that's why I have all the teams and all the capability in-house, and that's how I'm trying to create value chain from data center coming up into PaaS layer and all this stuff. So they will build all those capabilities, but yes, at different points of time, discussions have happened that if they want GPUs and the capabilities I'm building in for their end purpose, right, of building apps on AI, they can source it from me. Discussions are there. I cannot talk everything here, but they will always use. But as I said that, whether they would want to use any third party, forget Yotta. It's not a matter of Yotta. It could have been anybody else. They may not use, because the major DNA is anything which is very strategic to them. They would like to build that capability in-house instead of outsourcing. That is the DNA. Yeah.
Got it. Talking about customers, I wanted to know, like, can you tell us any crazy demand which one of your customers made, like very vague demand, or like which was like over the board, or which you remember?
I think no. I may not be able to give some very something which is like suddenly out of the blue and all. But what I can talk about is whether it is my okay. Let me take a different way. And then when we were building data centers, when I was an entity before, the whole market was building 2 megawatt, 4 megawatt small data centers. That was Indian data center market was, right? And if you build a 6 megawatt data center, it used to be a big thing. You will sell it over 4 years, 5 years and all the stuff. And okay, quality was reasonable. If I see in hindsight, I would say that quality was reasonable and average. When hyperscalers came and they started talking about their quality requirement, scale requirement, many of the things used to come as a shocker to us, right? We were not familiar with those things, right? If I start talking about it, I'll take 2 hours to tell you the nitty-gritties of demand in their data center expectations, right? Now it's up to you. You try to make fun of the customer, or you try to say no to the customer, or you say that these demands are actually your biggest opportunity for you yourself to grow. Because if you're able to satisfy this demand, you actually, the much larger market has opened for you, right? And that is how I think we responded when I was in entity. That's how the industry has responded. And when I started Yotta, my starting point of building data centers was that all those learnings from hyperscalers and global banks and all which I had, right? I incorporated all of them and maybe much more when I build my data center. And even today, when customers are coming in, despite all those great things which you have done, they will still come and tell us these are the 2 things you don't have. Again, one is this customer is asking something useless, or I say, oh, this is the greatest opportunity for me to learn. Either I incorporate now or I at least incorporate that in my next data center. Same thing I can see in my cloud journey, and I'll come to AI. Without naming the customers, I can tell you, because we are not building a cloud like Amazon. I mean, I cannot become Amazon on day one. But when I'm positioning myself that I am a large cloud operator, I'm a sovereign cloud operator, customer will expect you to deliver what they are expecting from Amazon. So at that time, again, it is a matter of how you respond, right? Do you actually say, oh, what he is responding, it will mean some big investment for me. I don't know whether pay back or not. It will mean some more skill set to be hired. Or I take it that, okay, this customer has come as a blessing to me. I will meet up his demand, whatever extra he's asking for, which I don't have. And I meet up his demand, but once I do it for this customer, it will open a bigger market. I think my entire growth in cloud has come because I ended up customer, I can case now, for example, NIC is a public name, so I can tell you. the demand which I have from them is we have ended up creating many cloud services because NIC demanded it.
Okay.
I can name Bhashini again, it's very open. Entire Bhashini, and this is a very proud moment for me, and I think we'll be doing much more announcements about it in future along with Mr. Amitabh Nag, that this is possibly the first use case where a very large deployment, mission critical deployment has shifted from hyperscaler to a local operator. Normally you always have heard the reverse, right? Complete Bhashini has migrated out
Okay.
from Azure to us.
Okay.
It started with my GPUs, right? That because my GPUs were much more powerful than what Azure was having in India at that time, and they had to put it in India only. But they said that, in fact, they prompted, we want to migrate everything. Are you up to it or not? It was a fantastic challenge they gave to me. And thankfully, my team delivered.
Yeah.
They ended up going out of the way to build many capabilities which we were not even there in my horizon also for, let's say, next 6 months of delivery. But we have done that.
Okay.
Now I've done that. Now I'm feeling myself a little more empowered. Oh, I'm inching closer to what my destiny is in terms of cloud capability.
Okay.
I can compete more now. I think so. I've got many examples. I cannot name some of the customers because of NDA reasons, but I think I'm getting all the time requirements which are going beyond what I had delivered or what I had envisaged my product roadmap. But most of the time we end up investing into meeting those demands, and I think they most of the time are paying back to me.
So, like, I wanted to know, like, why only certain cities like Chennai and Mumbai are picked for building data centers? Is it due to like land prices there or like real estate business?
I tell you, it is like a combination of things, right? As we know that the every hyperscaler's journey started from Mumbai, right? And if I tell you the real reason, actually, while we quote many reasons, the real reason was that the first hyperscaler who started, they typically follow a triangle architecture in a city, right?
Okay.
So they will create 3 sort of regions in a single city, and I think they call it AZs, availability zones within a region. Region is Mumbai, and then they will have AZs, and these 3 AZs have to be around 15-20 kilometers from each other, making a triangle, from a resiliency redundancy purposes. Mumbai at that time, when hyperscaler started and they wanted to come into India as fast as possible, so they are looking for a city which can give them 3 existing data centers in a triangle. Mumbai, by chance, that was the only city which could have presented them, where multiple operators were there, spread out, who could make a triangle.
Okay.
Right? So if I name, for example, there was a Control S on in Mumbai, in Mahape. There was a SIFI in Rabale in Mumbai, and there was a NetMagic which was in Vikhroli, which ultimately ended up building much larger in Chandivali, closer, right?
Okay.
Triangle got completed, so it started.
Oh.
So that was a fundamental reason. When another hyperscalers decided to go Delhi, they were somehow trying to look for a triangle in Delhi which was not there, because there were not many operators. You still have to have a reasonable size and quality of data center. They were having one. They actually made 2 others to build data centers only for them so that their triangle can be completed. One of them was me. So that's how I know. That's how my data center in Noida started. So in case of Mumbai, why Mumbai still ends up having 45 to 50% of the market is historically maybe because of the reasons like the only city where power never goes off, private power distributors, or there's a whole local demand, the financial capital of the country, or maybe skill set being available. Of course, people tom too much about the fiber landing station, right? But that also has its value because hyperscalers still exchange a whole lot of traffic with their other AZs. So all these things added up to make Bombay as a destination, for the initial growth of data center. But because Mumbai became base, and then naturally that thing, sort of adds up. And as I said, that the hyperscaler thought that Mumbai is the base. And then obviously the moment first hyperscaler decided to put up his infrastructure in these 3 places, automatically the growth happens because everybody knows a hyperscaler now will grow in all these 3 corners, and rest is history. You saw Thane Bilapur Road being full of data centers now, Chandivali being, whatever land is there is full of data centers and all. But after that, the second part then was that after you have put the base in India, India is still a larger spread out country, not as spread out as US, but still large spread out country, north to south and east to west. If you have to be closest to the user as much as possible, then you would like to cover India, all the four corners, and that is how you have to have a base in north. Obviously, Delhi becomes the logical thing, and you have to have base in south. Now, somebody may decide Chennai, somebody may decide Hyderabad, somebody may decide Bangalore.
Okay.
Because Chennai also had the added advantage of the eastern side fiber coming in from Singapore to Chennai, so Chennai obviously scored more.
Okay.
Because Hyderabad ended up giving as a state, despite not being on the seashore, because as a state, the government was extremely progressive, gave huge benefits in terms of land prices, stamp duties, registration charges, power subsidies and all. So Hyderabad actually started scoring over. Ideally, Hyderabad's gains was Chennai's loss.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
If you were to build Stargate in India, which city will you choose? Like a Stargate level of project in India, like in US, they are building in Texas. If you were to build same thing in India, which city will you choose?
See, frankly speaking, there can be multiple cities, but it is a difficult question, I would say, to answer. And this question is related to the question which is often asked for India, that why Indian data center industry is only these 6 cities, right? Mumbai, Chennai,
Hyderabad.
Delhi, these 3 first, and then Bangalore, Hyderabad and Pune, and the industry is over, right? A little bit in Calcutta, but that is negligible. Because of this, all these reasons, and the fundamental reason being fiber redundancy and bulk availability, right? Because even if you go to a Indore or a Bhubaneswar or a Lucknow or Patna, wherever, you will get ample amount of land, possibly much cheaper. For sure, you will end up getting power also, because India is a power surplus country. Most of the months in the country, is just that the last mile distribution is a problem. But again, as I said, that you can always put your own express feeders. It may take 12 months, 18 months, but you can do it. So I think the challenge is not land. Construction, obviously, you can do anywhere. Challenge is not power. Challenge is a huge redundant fiber availability, so that even if what we call as 3 not out, 4 not out, even there's a 4 cut, 5 cuts, your data center is still not, still not cut off. That is the reason why you ended up having data center only in the peripheries of the main cities and not somewhere remote.
Okay.
So, if we are able to build all the ingredients of a data center, and that is what the discussion when the national data center policy is being discussed. One of the key element of the national data center policy being discussed is, can government, just like they have taken step in Semicon mission, just like they have taken step in India AI mission or a quantum mission, can they take steps? Because this is going to be large scale, private sector cannot do it alone. Like Mumbai, I think is talking about a completely new third city, Naina city, right? Can they create a dedicated data center zone, maybe of thousands of acres, bring in power by default, put in small modular nuclear reactors there, put in all the plumbing and all the services required there, put in transport facility, put in residential facilities, make power available by default, and give very attractive declared data embassy there. And obviously give tax benefits and other benefits there. There will be no reason why a project like Stargate or even bigger cannot be done anywhere in India, right? So the easiest answer, if I go by the today's dynamics, the logical answer would be, okay, outskirts of Mumbai. But I would say, if I see a long-term cost dynamics and many other dynamics, because then the power will be costly. For a project of that scale, you will not only have to go to a place where power is cheaper, but also where you have ample amount of green power available, right? So from that point of view, you would rather like to create these huge clusters, right? As a planned cluster, and I think government will have to take this initiative, because these planned cities development can be done only at a government scale.
Okay. So besides like AI, are you also like little bit exploring quantum? Like quantum is also become very popular these days. So like what's next for Yotta, or maybe like
I think that is my next tipping point, I would say. I mean, again, coming in this thing that you try to do something for tomorrow. When you started Yotta, you try to do something for tomorrow when you thought of sovereign cloud. We try to do something for tomorrow when we started GPUs. Same thing we did when I thought of Blackwell's doing it. I think the same logical thing will be quantum, right? Very early stages. I'm of course reading about it, I would say. trying to understand the market, trying to discuss with the participants. Like obviously in India, 2 or 3 startups have done a great job.
Yeah.
How I can reduce my learning curve and not try to do what is not my core, rather partner with people. So I am actually trying to explore all those options, but I think that looks like to be the next logical option for me to do. Right? Because again, the fundamental ingredient there also, you will be requiring large data centers, you'll require fiber, you'll require managed capabilities, you will require all that. So it becomes logical for me to go that path, right? So let's see. But yes, that seems to be the path.
So like, what's the future for Yotta, and like, how do you see the company by 2030?
So I think it is. I would say 2 or 3. Vectors I can talk about it. One is that I think the outside world comes to India to discover a market, right? And that is where this whole tariff war is about. But because everybody want to capture this market, we know that. You know why this tariff war is happening, right? So the first thing is, if I'm sitting in India, I'm son of the soil, why not I actually target my Indian market before I think out?
Okay.
So for me, Indian market is supreme, right? How I go up the value chain while I keep on expanding my footprints, like my data center campus will have more data centers, more power, more fiber. That is a horizontal expansion. But how do I vertically scale in terms of bringing more products? And again, repeating same, my cloud, GPUs, AI, PaaS, maybe in future quantum. That is my vertical upgradation journey. So that will keep on happening, and sky is the limit there, right? You can do lots of things in-house, you can do lots of things in partnership with hyperscalers, you can do partnership with startups, with IITs, you can do all that thing, but that is a logical journey. One journey which is outside India, which is tricking, which is a critical part of our journey, we feel that the capabilities which we have ended up building, sometimes I call it concrete to cloud capability. You start with concrete, but you end up building cloud. So this is a rare capability, right? If you just see in India or in the world, either people are great at building data centers, Equinix and digital reality model, or people are great at running clouds and GPUs, right? Nobody does both. In our case, we actually have ended up acquiring this capability and building this capability in a very strong way, and that gives us lots of advantage. Our agility is very high because of this, right? When we are going out and having conversations with many countries in the world, we feel that the governments, everybody want to do AI. And actually that is applicable to many state governments also in India, right? Everybody want to have an AI factory, AI city, AI cluster, AI capability because then they know it will be good for their population. How to do it? They don't know. Governments can give you land, they can give you subsidized power, they can give you incentives, but they cannot do anything beyond that. They want somebody, right, who can singularly start from that land and achieve the dream of AI in their state or a country. And that is the proposition we are taking to many states and countries, that we as a singular operator, we will not only bring this entire capability of right from designing, right from visualizing to designing, engineering, operating, going to market. And we are also willing to invest into this on a PPP model. That is my mainstay of discussions in India with many states and also outside, that this is what we feel is something which will be good for everybody. Those states or countries will end up getting something, and they'll be marrying me to the end results. I will invest and I'll get paid only when I deliver the end result and services. I gain because this is great business for me. I bring those capabilities, and of course the pride that I have done something like this, great for everything. And that is what is, I think, my growth journey as of now.
If you get, like, you are data center man of India, if you get any one superpower with this tag, what will you do?
Not thought about it, but frankly speaking, I would like to accelerate my pace of building services, know, and see, these are at the end of the day, you are trying to compete with people who have got hugely deep pockets, who have done these things over years, right? And in terms of infrastructure and skill sets, they have put billions of dollars, right? You're trying to get into that exclusive club space. It's not easy. You have an environment, I would say, blessed with, I would say that, I would say the current government talking about make in India sovereignty. So you have got a space, you have got an opportunity. AI is coming new, nobody else is doing it. So there is a clear opportunity signal available, right? How do I now fast track myself, right? To introduce, to scale up my infrastructure, scale up my skill sets, introduce services, new features, right? I think that is something which always is, like, I would say, good problem to have, which is something which occupies your mind all the time because it is taking time, right? I mean, so that is the superpower I would love to have. How do I really do everything which is possible in this whole space, and how do I do it faster? That's what I like to do.
And any plans of IPO in near future, and any acquisitions plans which you can reveal?
So we are, I think, quite public about that. We have plans to go get listed in Nasdaq, and I think the process is on. Earlier, we were trying to get listed by February because we were waiting for our business, especially India and all, to scale up. We sort of put it a little in abeyance. We are back again, and we are actually trying to get listed as soon as possible. There's a active process going on for there. We might look at, right, and that is what we are considering seriously, to also get listed in India as well. Possibly that will be a logical next step after our US listing. I think the Indian market is ripe for doing that, and we will do that. Of course, right now, besides the promoter family money, we have got lots of funds available through banks. And banks are reposing lots of faith. I mean, you can just imagine, if you're putting billions into GPUs, there has to be somebody at the back end with funds who is as much convinced about the future of these AI services. And we are happy to have many, I would say, government-backed banks and institutions who are supporting us. So yeah, I mean, this is something which is a logical part of our growth, and we are on it.
One last question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What advice will you give to a 25-year-old who wants to build a data center in India? Like, who wants to follow your path?
Great question. That is the question I'm sort of trying to ask myself, because at one time I was into the same sort of thing. Okay. First is study the market very carefully. Supply ecosystem, demand ecosystem, and understand your niche very clearly. It can be a crowded market. So unless and until you try to find your niche very clearly, you will just end up not achieving the intended purpose, despite your enthusiasm and everything what you may have. Just like I found certain niches and trying to work on that. Second is you will have to have somebody who believes in you, because ultimately you will need a lot of infrastructure, lots of money on that. Now, whether it is a private equity, whether it is a business house, whether it is a government, but you need somebody. This is a capex intensive business, right? So unless you have that, it's going to be a problem. You cannot do this on a smaller scale, right? Third, don't get restricted ever to only build the foundational, you can call it co-location layer. That has become highly commoditized, right? There is a over supply of suppliers, I would say, there, right? The real value, especially if you're a 25-year-old, will be lying in moving up the value chain. And that is where you start finding niches. You will be coming closer to the customer. So whether it is a general cloud or whether it is a industry specific cloud, or within that there can be a lot of niches, whether you decide to only build an app layer on the top of AI, or whether you also want to build maybe focus B2B small models, you become a consultant, understand the enterprise requirement, and then create a full agentic AI solution for them and deliver that on the top of your infrastructure which you have built, the GPUs and the data center. Try to address the whole value chain.
Okay.
Right? this is from functional point of view and a market point of view. But fundamental advice, I was there in one of the engineering colleges just 3-4 days back, and this is what I exactly told all the youngsters there. Fundamental thing I think always lies in how much convinced you are on yourself and how much you are able to visualize the future for yourself. Unless and until you are living and visualizing your future dream day in and day out with open eyes, you will always keep on doubting yourself. More than you, there will be whole ecosystem will keep on doubting you. If you also get into the same loop and then stop, and you will have those moments every single day, then you will not be able to move forward.
Okay.
So how you learn from the environment, because you have to learn the right things, how you are able to, I would say, differentiate between noise and feedback. That is important. So it is a combination of your, I would say, personal girth and of course the as I say, the tricks of the trade. You understand supply demand ecosystem, find the right partner, find the right funding, go up the value chain. It's a combination of all this.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time, Sunil. It was very nice to have a chat with you, go to know in detail about data center in India, like how to build one, and advice for youngsters also. So it was a really insightful session. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Siddharth. So nice talking to you. Thank you. Bye.